thinking skills will eventually, or in fact now, overtake what you call tasks training. In a recent situation that I had, I was invited to work with a client and talking about a situation where they wanted to get a 1% more of their error reduction. Okay, they call it 1% reject reduction. You know what 1% reduction of error means to a company. It could mean millions of dollars, right? So while we were talking, he was saying that, you know, all our employees are being trained very well. They have all the policies and the procedures. For the years, they have been doing what they need to do. We just want them to raise 1% beyond what they do today, because it will be millions of savings, in fact. So we pondered on the problem, and apparently that 1% is a very difficult thing to attain. Why? These are some of the few things we discovered. Number one, learners and workers on the job do well with the tasks that they're doing. However, when they're presented a question that they need to think a little bit more beyond the tasks, it becomes difficult. Number one, they don't have the thinking process. They don't think it's their job. They don't think they're responsible beyond the tasks. One point. The second point was that there seems to be an assumption that by just doing the task, they'll be able to see these exception errors. They'll be able to detect. A good example is that there is a broken engine or a part, and it looks good on the outside, right? I mean, there's no leak and the like. The typical worker would not think of what could happen to that in terms of improving its performance. As long as it's trying okay, the way it is right now, they would not go to the 1%. I think it was basically a concept that we need to move beyond just tasks training, but to kind of a thinking, learning, and evaluating things beyond the tasks training. Why? Because most of the task training is really repetitive, and over a period of time, a lot of this task might be translated and done by robotics or artificial intelligence. There will still be task training and tasks in the job, but eventually what happens is that 1% will be very, very hard to accomplish if we don't help the workers to think through issues, to think through problems, and find innovation that can make them perform a lot better. Furthermore, especially when things are not very clear, things are uncertain, and things are unpredictable. Start reflecting on this, that whenever there's a tasks training, incorporate something, a thinking process with it, so that they can think beyond what the task learning is all about.